Hello guys and welcome back to another episode of our Crystal Palace Summer Career Mode here on EAFC 24. We're returning today with the penultimate episode of Season 2 as we're going to play out our final 5 Premier League fixtures of the campaign, where we're looking to secure Champions League football, and we'll also have both legs of our UEFA Europa League Semi Final away and at home to Ajax. So big games to come today in the penultimate episode of Season 2. Jumping straight into the first, this should be a banker. It's Everton at home at Selhurst Park, where we've been so good this season, looking to kick off the episode with 3 points. Come on, you Eagles. Dele Alli still going strong at Everton. What a ball through. And Valeri, a man that we used during our time at Girona in our last career mode, gives Everton the lead. Ooh, poor tackle that. Ozo stays down as well. The Everton man was never getting there. That's brilliant from Eze, and schlupping behind across the box to Mateta. And that's as simple as they come. Another for Mateta. Don't think he's going to win the Golden Boot with Erling Haaland running away with it, but it is back-to-back seasons where he scored 20 plus goals in the Premier League. Schlupp nicks it back. Now Sule, who's been quiet today. Matthias comes in field. Still Sule, brilliant run. And Matthias Sule lets fly. It's a trademark goal from the Argentine. How many times have we seen that exact goal this season? Coming in off the right hand side onto his stronger left foot, use the run of Mateta as a decoy and smashing the ball into the top corner. Crystal Palace have managed to come back from behind and turn the game on its head. Now can we hold on to our lead? Well, there's a quarter of an hour to play here. Since the second goal, the game's gone quite flat. There's been a lot of stoppages in play, and Everton haven't really been able to play through us and cause us any issues, but still in the game with 10 to play at 2-1. That's great acceleration from Kadioglu. Through the gap to Rak-Saki, lovely skill, and he's got the finish as well. I think that's his first goal of the season. He's played a little bit deeper this season as a sort of wing back for me in this shape rather than as one of the front three. And he's done a very solid job. He's growing nicely. I do believe that's his first of the campaign. Nice bit of skill. Wraps up the victory for Crystal Palace. Right then, time for the first leg of our Europa League semi-final away in Amsterdam to take on Ajax at the Johan Cruyff Arena. Quite a few changes as these games coming in midweek on Thursday, but I do still feel confident after progressing through Braga and then Fenerbahce that we can get the better of Ajax and make it to our second final in 2 years with the Eagles. Still 180 minutes to play until we will find out, but come on, you Eagles. So underway here in Amsterdam, and it's a decent team that Ajax have got, but as we saw in the previous 2 rounds, we're built on a very solid defence, and if you can stop teams scoring against you in these knockout ties, it makes such a big difference, because as soon as you get that first goal, you know that the sort of momentum of the tie switches, because the other team have to come forward. It's a knockout tie. They have to throw bodies forward at some point. And if you're good at the back, you can pick teams off on the counter, as we did against Fenerbahce away in Turkey. And similarly to Braga in the last 16, where although it was just a single goal to nil in both games, we were relatively comfortable. And I think it might be a similar tale here against Ajax. They're a decent side, but I don't really see where the goal threat is going to come. Not saying that they won't score, but with how good our defence is, it's going to be very tricky for them to break us down. Venezia gets away. Pacho with the block. Dean's on the floor. Mikhail Tadzi has it. Mikhail Tadzi off the post, and the ref's going to bring it back for a penalty. Dan Ballard in trying to make the block. I always find that these penalties, when they're given, are a little bit harsh. I'm clearly trying to get something in the way. Yes, okay, you can argue that there is contact and it's a foul, but he gets his shot away. And the Georgian will have the chance from the spot. Mikhail Tadzi sends Dean the wrong way. And Ajax lead in Amsterdam. Better from Palace though, as Kamada again has it. And Kamada using the run as a decoy. Daichi Kamada! Just wide, and I think it took a nick off the keeper really as well. Yeah, it was a touch from the Argentine, so Kamada will swing the corner in, looking for Edouard, and again Geronimo Rulli is behind it. Kamada from the same side, a little bit deeper this one, looking for Edouard, headed away. Freuler will keep it alive, and Lerma from range look to try and catch Rulli out. Much better from Palace though. All the attacks coming down this end of the pitch. Lerma to Freuler. That's nice football by Palace. Zahar had to hold it up. Nice ball into Freuler, who hits it low and hard. And Rulli again making another fantastic stop. Another corner for the Eagles. Swung in towards Edouard. It's loose. And Ajax clear, but it is all one-way pressure at the moment. Just need to find that breakthrough as Lerma releases Zahar. Back to Jefferson Lerma, and again Geronimo Rulli is behind it. We just cannot find a way past this man tonight. Borna Sosa does really well. Conceição away from Lerma. Minetzi back to Conceição. There's a big gap in the heart of our defence. And Ajax looking to exploit that. Conceição through the gap, and it's a second. And Ajax double up. It's been all Crystal Palace pressure in this second half. But Van der Boomen gets the second, and we are in a real trouble heading back to London for the second leg. And Edouard, nice turn. Can he get away from his man? Still Edouard through the gap to Soulé. Nice feet, Matthias Soulé bends in. And we are going to still lose here in Amsterdam, but we've got a big goal on the board. 2-1 heading back to London. And that gives us a much better chance of getting back into the tie in the return leg. Bends it home, and Matthias off the bench halves the deficit. And there is the whistle. Cracker of a game. Loads of chances at either end, and Matthias Soulé's goal could be important come the end of the second leg at Selhurst Park. I'm not too disappointed with that. I would have liked to have been at least level heading back for the second leg, but that late goal does give us a little glimmer of hope. Ajax will be happy taking the advantage to London, but there's still a lot of work and a lot of football to be played. Well, before we jump into this next game here, it's a big one as we take on Arsenal away at the Emirates. 10-point gap to them in 5th, currently outside of the Champions League places. So they need a win here if they've got any chance of making up the ground. But we've also got our penultimate batch of scouting, and we also see David Ozo, another midfielder, down with a broken toe injury, out for 3 months for the remainder of the season. So we are starting to look a little bit short in that midfield, but let's see if we find any decent players who could make the jump up to the first team. We've got 5 players here that will keep the scouting on in England for now. As for Northern Ireland, just the 3 players that will continue scouting. It's really difficult for anyone at this late stage to make a push for a scholarship after just a couple of months worth of scouting. And similarly from the US, nobody knew that's made it, but we will continue the scouting on these 3 here. Let's take a look at the academy. I want to have a look at that Northern Irish goalkeeper that we picked up in the previous episode. There he is, Liam Boyle, potential starting to settle, 84 to 94 currently, and he looks absolutely fantastic at just 15 years of age. But we will have one more batch worth of scouting updates at the beginning of June, but of course, jumping into our next game here, it is Arsenal away at the Emirates taking on the Gunners. As I say, we've got a 10-point gap to Arsenal and Chelsea in 5th and 6th with just 4 games to play. So Arsenal really need a win here, and for us to absolutely tank it towards the end of the season if they are to make up the ground and finish in a top 4 spot. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily waving the white flag, but I have made a lot of changes for this one with Thursday night in mind. Come on, you Eagles. Yeah, I mean, you would have seen from my lineup pre-game, it's very rotated. I wouldn't say I'm giving up on the Premier League, but we're too far behind Man City to make a push for the title, which I don't think we ever really considered we were in a race for anyway. Top 4 seems pretty much wrapped up. Even if Arsenal win here, the gap will be 7 with 3 to play. So we'd have to lose all of our last 3, which seems very, very unlikely. So, as I say, not waving the white flag, but certainly focusing more on our Thursday night clash in the Europa League. Jesus for Arsenal, looking to catch us on the break here. It's out wide to Martinelli. Hughes has done well to hold him up, but what a cross by Gabriel Martinelli, and the finish from Saka is just as good. Takes it on the full, on the weaker right foot, and absolutely smashes it past Henderson. Thought I'd actually done enough to hold Martinelli up, but the cross is superb. And the finish is even better. Bukayo Saka opens the scoring for the Gunners. Well, the scoreline remains at just 1 heading into the second half, and it could have been worse for us. Seemed to be getting sliced open by Arsenal, but we are still in the game at 1-0. We've not really created anything, but I always say at just 1-0, you are always in the game. I do expect Arsenal to kick on and find a second goal in this second period. But if we can hang on in there, it only takes one chance or one bit of brilliance, and we're back in the game. Richards down the line to Ayew now. Kamada. Nice run by Mateta, opens up the space, and Daichi lets fly, and Unastal makes a good stop. First time we've tested the Arsenal keeper, and he had to fly across and make the save. Corners into the middle, and I think it was Mengi who got up, and again Unastal makes the stop. Raksaki from the other side goes deeper looking for Pacho, and for the 3rd time the German makes the save. Ize again from the opposite corner. Ayew nods down to Kamada. Fantastic strike from Daichi. Just his 2nd goal of the season. Playing him slightly deeper today due to the injury problems we've got in midfield. And he's just come up with an absolute rocket. Good little spell of pressure from the Eagles. Unastal makes a couple of saves, but he gets absolutely nowhere near that from Kamada. The Japanese midfielder fires it into the back of the net, and from out of nowhere, Crystal Palace are level. Well, this game really sprung into life here in the second half. Palace a lot more competitive than we were in the first. And I think actually, as it stands, Arsenal need a goal, otherwise they will not be able to qualify for the Champions League next year. They'll be 10 points behind with just 3 to play. So Gunners pushing and probing, looking for that goal as Ødegaard strike. Holding on at the end here. Jorginho keeps it alive. And now Saliba through to Vieira, back to the Frenchman, through the gap to Saka. Nice feet, Saka's strike is turned away by Dean Henderson, and there is the whistle. A credible point on the road for the Eagles. And I believe, if my maths is correct, we'll find out after the game. I know that Arsenal can no longer catch us, but I'm not sure if that secures Champions League football for us for next season. We'll have to go and find out and take a look after all the fixtures have been played. But boys really dug in, and that's a very credible point on the road. So taking a look at the league table, I think that is it done for Crystal Palace. Chelsea are, 8 points behind? Oh, hang on, no. Chelsea are 8 behind, so could still make a late push. But again, we'd have to lose all of our remaining 3 fixtures. Chelsea would have to win all of theirs. It's very unlikely. A point in our next game will secure it away at the London Stadium. And Crystal Palace are so close to securing Champions League football. But jumping into our next game, this is the big one. Second leg of the Europa League Semi Final. Ajax coming to London to take us on at Selhurst Park with that 2-1 aggregate scoreline. The Eagles need to turn it around if we are to reach the final. Come on, you Palace. So underway here under the lights at Selhurst Park. I've got a really strong lineup out there. Eze starting in the front line with Matthias Sule. Normally I'd rotate for the European nights, but with us already trailing from the first leg, we're going to need every bit of firepower we've got to get back into this. Big game here, and it could be a historical one for Palace if we can turn it around, but we've got a lot of work to do. Mitchell. Nice ball into Eze. Dinks it in for Sule. Oh, that could have gone anywhere, that. Well, first half has been and gone. Couple of sort of half chances for us, but nothing of note yet. And Ajax looking pretty comfortable. And we know that they've got that threat on the break as well. We need to be so perfect in our defending to not let them in. And it's unlike us. I've been really good going forward this season, but just finding it really difficult to break this Ajax team down. That's nice by Eze and Freuler. Freuler strike! What a hit! Remo Freuler with an absolute thunderbolt. Well, that's the bit of magic that we needed. Eze does really well down the left. Drops it off to Freuler on the edge. And it is an absolute beaut from the Swiss midfielder. It starts outside the post and just cuts back inside. No chance for Rulli. Selhurst Park erupts and Crystal Palace are back on level terms. Now can we push on and find a goal to put us in front on aggregate? Well, that goal has calmed the nerves around Selhurst Park, because as it was with Ajax leading, we knew that we needed to get the goal. Now that we've got it, it has just calmed the nerves. But of course, they always say you're most vulnerable after you've just scored. Need to be careful here as Ajax coming forward, but that's poor from Jordan Henderson. And Freuler has it again. And Freuler driving forward. Look at the run from Lerma. And Lerma, Jefferson Lerma! Scored the second goal in the last 16 against Braga to send us through here at Selhurst Park, and he's just scored another huge goal in this competition. Jordan Henderson gave it away in midfield and we sprung forward. Brilliant from Freuler, 32, he looks like he's 22 out there. Gives it to his midfield partner Jefferson Lerma, and it's a great strike past the outstretched arm of Geronimo Rulli. Crystal Palace have turned it around. We now lead by 3-2 on aggregate. And now it's our turn to sit in and say to Ajax, can you break us down? Well, last couple of minutes for Ajax, and they have to get the ball forward now. We've defended so much better today. Just need to win the ball back one more time, and that should do it if we can keep hold of it. Steven Bergwijn down the left wins a corner for Ajax. And I think, has he blown the, he's blown the whistle. I can't believe that. Well, I'm sure the Ajax fans in real life and the manager would not be happy with that, as the referee blows the whistle as it drops behind for the corner off Jefferson Lerma. But it's his goal that will send us to the final of the Europa League. Big turnaround here at Selhurst Park. One that the Crystal Palace fans will never forget. And the Eagles make it to the final, winning 3-2 on aggregate. What a night under the lights in South London. Well, I already know what our reward is for making the final. What a night this is going to be at the end of May. Crystal Palace taking on Real Madrid in the final of the Europa League. We are going to be huge underdogs for that. I think they must have been in the Champions League and were knocked out and dropped down into the competition, because there's no way they finished outside the top 4. Wow, 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses in a group that they probably should have been topping, and they dropped into the Europa League. And I mean, what a final that is going to be. What a night for the Crystal Palace fans, the players, everyone associated with the club, taking on the mighty Real Madrid in the Europa League final. But before we get there, we've got a job to do in the Premier League. Still ahead of Chelsea by 8 points. They take on Burnley at Turf Moor, whilst we travel to the London Stadium to take on West Ham, knowing that a point will be enough to secure Champions League football for next season. Let's go and get the job done with 2 to play. Come on, you Eagles. So we're underway here at the London Stadium, knowing that just a point will be enough, and it's what we managed on the road in our previous game in North London, away at the Emirates Stadium. And you know, if you've been watching this save, this is one of my favourite fixtures in the calendar when West Ham take on Palace. It's just one of those games that always seems to deliver, as Dean Henderson makes a good early stop. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's more goals here today. Irving into... Oh, Goodmanson. I think he might be a regen, this lad, but Goodmanson opens the scoring for West Ham, and we're going to have to come from behind once again. I just want to claim this point so that we know that the Champions League football is secured for next season. I don't want it heading into the penultimate, or even worse, the last game of the season. Let's just get the job done here today. Kudus, danger. Driving at pace. Looks to get it back. Richards loses out. Mohamed Kudus. What a poor goal to concede. Richards had the ball in his possession and just didn't move it quick enough. Kudus nicks it off him and doubles West Ham's advantage. And we look as if we're going to be falling to defeat here at the London Stadium. That's poor from Chris Richards. Into Hughes. Now Mateta. Finds Zaha. And now Kamada does pull one back. Just 4 minutes to play. I think it's too little too late, but it's 2-2 from that slightly deeper position from Taichi Kamada. Doing really well in that deeper role, and something to consider for next season. Yeah, Daichi's not scored a huge amount of goals when he's been playing in the forward line, so maybe we do think about dropping him a little bit deeper next season and playing him as a part of our midfield too, especially with the injury to Czech Decore. That's something to consider for next season, but unfortunately his goal does come in vain. We fall to defeat here at the London Stadium, and unless Burnley have done us a favour at Turf Moor, Chelsea still in with an outside shot of qualifying for the Champions League for next season. Well, let's find out if Burnley did do us a favour. Chelsea up to 66. No, they did not. So still a very outside shot, but still a chance nonetheless for Chelsea. They won 2-1 away at Burnley. So with 2 to play, we're a point above Spurs. And what is it now? 5 points clear of Chelsea. We still just need a single point against either Brighton away at the at home at Selhurst Park, or Brentford at home on the final day to secure Champions League football. Let's jump into our next one then. It is Brighton at home in the penultimate game of the Premier League campaign. Looking to at least pick up the point we need to secure Champions League football for next season, as Chelsea host Arsenal at the Bridge. Come on, you Eagles. Dahoud spreads it out to Solly March, and there's James Milner still going strong in this save. Cross comes in, Gerhi heads away, and Soulé loses out to Malacia. Seema back to Malacia, lovely ball into Tammy Abraham, and against the run of play really, Brighton haven't had too much, but the former Chelsea man smashes in to give Brighton the lead. It's been a poor little run of form for the Eagles towards the end of the season, and at the moment we can't get that single point on the board that we need to secure top 4 for next season. Oh, Raksaki gets there. He's in behind. Raksaki finds Sule. Great touch on the chest and effort. And Rushworth equal to it again. Lerma swings the ball in. Edouard's goal side of his man. And there's our goal. Odsonne Edouard given the nod today, with Mateta feeling slightly fatigued. And he's got his goal, the Frenchman, to get us back on level terms. Hinchelwood once more. Runs into Pacho. Still the youngster. Great feet. And Hinchelwood goes for goal. And Dean Henderson had to get his angles right there as it's put behind for the corner. Milner will take, and it's deep and not headed away by Pacho, as I think Dunk got his head on it. Still not clear, and the shot comes in and it falls just wide of that far post. Early pressure from Brighton as they look to restore their lead here at Selhurst, and Freuler can bring it clear. There's Raksaki. Edouard making the run ahead of him, and Edouard gets away from his man Odsonne Edouard. Fantastic finish, doubles up for the evening and puts Crystal Palace into the lead. Brighton now need 3 to stop us from qualifying for the Champions League. Lewis Dunk gets too tight. Edouard just knocks it round him, and it's a fantastic finish past Carl Rushworth to give us the lead for the first time today. Mateta off the bench, looking to get a goal of his own, but he's got Eze with him. And Ebere Eze racing away. Eze bends home the third on the break, and that is going to do it. Trying to get him to celebrate with Mateta, but Ebere Eze salutes those Crystal Palace fans. I'm sure there will be big rumours in the summer about the top teams wanting this man's services, because it's been a fantastic campaign for the Englishman, and he gives us a 2-goal lead here in what should secure the 3 points and Champions League football for next campaign. So as we get back to the menus after that win, we'll check the table in a moment. We've got a couple of youth players unsettled. Ian Mackay, who looks great, is one of them. He's going to get a pro deal. I think Arthur Paul was another, and he does look pretty decent. Who was the third one? Shane Maxwell. He's been in there for quite a while as well. Looks pretty decent as a central midfielder, although 80 to 86 potential, I'm not too sure. I'll promote him for now, and we'll make a decision in the summer. Well, let's just have a look to confirm it, as I think Chelsea actually lost. Yeah, Chelsea lost to Arsenal at the Bridge, so that does confirm it. The top 4 is actually wrapped up. Man United, ourselves and Spurs could still trade places, but they will be the 3 teams behind Manchester City, who were champions a long time ago. Arsenal and Chelsea look as if they'll be heading into the Europa League in 5th and 6th. And West Ham currently holding that final Conference League spot, although Newcastle and Liverpool, and technically Aston Villa, could still leapfrog them on the final day. As for the relegation battle, Norwich are down. They have been for some time. Burnley still have a very outside chance of leapfrogging Bournemouth and Leeds and staying up, but it's looking likely that they will be heading down, and Bournemouth also with a very slim chance of surviving. So that is how the table looks heading into the final day of the Premier League season. We haven't really got anything to play for other than potentially places in the top 4. But with the Europa League coming in midweek in just 3 days' time, I'm going to be making a whole host of changes. Going to field a really weak lineup, as I don't want any of my key players getting injured or fatigued for that game. So real rotated side, a couple of send-offs as well. Let's see if we can win on the final day of the season. Come on, you Eagles. Yeah, I mean, you would have seen my lineup pre-game. It is really poor. I don't think I've ever fielded a team in the Premier League with as many 60 rated players. It's pretty poor, but there are some nice send-offs in there. Nathaniel Klein, Jeffrey Schlupp, Jordan Ayew, Joel Ward as well. So nice to give those players a send-off, knowing that there's not really too much to play for. And if we can somehow manage to win today. Oh, Jordan Ayew nearly with a perfect send-off. If we can find a way to win today, that will be absolutely fantastic with the team that we fielded out there today. As the corner's into Richards. And it's an unlikely scorer. And I think it's his first of the season. But Chris Richards does head us into an early lead here at Selhurst Park. Here's one of the youngsters that we just promoted, Shane Maxwell, on the ball. Do like the look of him, and we're so short in midfield at the moment. I thought I'd give him a start. That's a great run from him. And Whittaker denied. Would have been a debut assist from Shane Maxwell, and he's out to take the corner as well. Maxwell floats it in, looking for Haji Wright, and it is a debut assist for the young Scotsman. Maxwell into Haji Wright. Palace double their advantage. And maybe we are going to win on the final day with an awful team out there. Ayew through the gap. What a ball. Haji Wright grabs a third and his second. What a brilliant ball by Jordan Ayew. Final appearance before he retires. And he'll pick up an assist as well. What a brilliant ball through to Haji Wright. And well, that is going to do it here at Selhurst Park. A lovely little send-off for a few of the experienced players. Klein, Schlupp, Ayew, Ward, all going to be leaving the club at the end of the season. And we still managed to get the win on the board as well. I don't know how. So comfortable as well with the 3-0 victory. 2 goals for Haji Wright, proving that he can still be a goal scorer in this team. A fantastic debut season for our United States striker. And Crystal Palace win on the final day by 3-0. And with Manchester United and Spurs both losing on the final day, we do jump up into second place. Still a further 14 behind Manchester City. But nice to know that Crystal Palace, the second best team in the Premier League this season. Manchester United and Spurs do wrap up the top 4. It's Arsenal in 5th with Chelsea in 6th. And West Ham do hold on to that 7th and final Europa Conference League spot. Although saying that, I think Liverpool did win the Carabao Cup despite an 8th place finish. So we'll see what happens next year with those European places. Aston Villa and Newcastle wrap up the top 10. There was then quite a big gap to the teams at the sort of top of the bottom half. And as we take a look at the bottom 3, looks as if there was a bit of drama on the final day. Burnley go to Goodison Park and win, whilst Leeds, where are Leeds? I can't even find Leeds, lost to Chelsea. So they end up going down. Bournemouth are relegated on goals scored, with Leeds, Bournemouth and Burnley all having the same number of points and the same goal difference. So Leeds with just 39... Oh, wait, hang on. Leeds and Bournemouth both had the same goals scored as well, and the same goals conceded. That is absolutely incredible. Burnley staying up on the final day, I think, via goals scored over Bournemouth and Leeds. That is absolute madness at the bottom of the Premier League. And as we take a look at the individual player stats, we see Erling Haaland winning another Golden Boot in the Premier League. Ollie Watkins and Alexander Isak were quite a way behind him with 23 and 21. But it is Jean-Philippe Mateta also with 21 goals, finishing in 4th. And it's the second season in a row that the big Frenchman has scored 20 or more in the Premier League. Ebere Eze, also a fantastic campaign for him. 13 goals in 32. A fantastic record for the Englishman. I think, yeah, that is it for the top scorers. As for the assists, well, we had a couple of players falling just short. It was Dejan Kulusevski in the end who wins it, the only man to reach double digits. Both Mateta and Wharton finished on 9, and Matthias Sule with 8. So we had a few players just short of that, but as for Dean Henderson, he did end up winning the Golden Glove. 19 clean sheets in 38, averaging a clean sheet every other match, and pipping Edison by 7 clean sheets. So yeah, really, really solid season for Crystal Palace in the Premier League, and of course qualifying for the Champions League for next season. I'm absolutely buzzing for that. But guys, that is where we will end it for today's episode. Really solid end to the season, and we do wrap up Champions League football, which of course is exactly what we wanted. We will return in the next episode for a full season roundup after we face Real Madrid in the UEFA Europa League final. We're going to be huge underdogs for that, but I'm hoping maybe we will find a way to win. I'll catch you for that very soon, guys. I hope you have enjoyed, and peace.